Hello everyone, welcome to Dysfunctional Systems Learning to Manage Chaos. Now this was developed and published by Dischan Media and released on April 4th, 2013. Now, let's go ahead and start the game. Working families across Brighton are no doubt issuing a collective sigh of relief today as the legislation for a minimum wage increase of 50 cents passed in Parliament early this morning. This bill comes after public outcry that the majority of Brighton citizens are without enough income, too poor to make ends meet at the recent increase in food prices. The change brings minimum wage for workers working over 40 hours a week to $3.67 an hour, and workers working less to $3.20. Although welcomed by most, there has been stiff opposition toward the bill from foreign investors, primarily those from Gabriela. Major Gabrian companies such as Uchco and Norkley have warned that wage increases would hurt Brighton's economy, arguing that the new rate would force more layoffs as they cannot afford as many employees. President Barnaby, who has been supportive of the legislation since its inception, retorted that well-fed employees were more productive, and reminded Uchco and Norkley representatives that employing a Brighton citizen was still over 16 times less expensive than employing a citizen from their home country. Stocks did, however, take a moderate tumble at approval of the legislation. President Barnaby assured citizens that the drop should only be temporary and that the markets will begin to rise again after the initial shock has been subsided. With this minimum wage increase, Barnaby has finally fulfilled the last of the campaign promises made during his 1523 campaign trail. Whether or not he manages to accomplish this 1527 goals remains to be seen. With that, we conclude our hourly business report. Next up, the latest in entertainment news. Without a doubt, I still find it strange. Everything strange, bizarre. Really, if these worlds were anything like my own, at least then I could appropriately flip out. But no, they're similar. Too similar. I keep slipping into a feeling of normalcy, only to have that sensation of strangeness slap me across the face at the first sight of something weird. There are plenty of weird sights around to do so too. Like, for instance, these advanced-looking televisions in this decrepit-looking building, which I can only assume is an electronics store. They are the first things I've seen since arriving in this world that actually look somewhat new. Fancy, even. Up until now, everything has been old, ramshackle, and in various states of disrepair. It makes me feel very nervous. It's just so profoundly disturbing. Will I ever get used to this? I think that I will, some year or decade from now, if my mentor is any indication. Look at him, standing there so aloof, as if this were just another day to him, which, yeah, I suppose it is. Well, what do I know? Nothing. Winter? Yes? What do you think? Think? About what? About what we just saw and heard. Oh. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking anything about it. Winter, we've only just started. Please try to focus. Yes, yeah, I will. Sorry. It's just... well... I'm still finding it a bit hard to wrap my head around the idea of destructive conflict. Oh, just to give a little bit, let's take a look at the codex. If you want to read these, go ahead and pause the video and take a look, in case you want to know more about the lore. And of course, same goes for this one. Please pause if you see fit if you want to read all that. Well, of course. I was the same when I first started out. There aren't that many examples of conflict at all in our world. Right. You might even find it surprising that war is actually a word in their dictionary. Totally. It's still, Winter, you'll come to understand conflict very well. Don't worry. After all, you'll be doing nothing but dealing with it. Lame. Well, anyway. You read the material on this world, right? It should have been in your homework. It was. Then tell me what you think. Perhaps it's time to admit that I didn't spend much of last night reading the material, so I'm just turning the pages and glancing at them. I was tired and honestly found watching the bubbles in my soda significantly more captivating than the words in those files. The way they merge with each other and crawl up the glass is really incredibly pretty. You're certainly pondering rather hard there, Winter. You must be whipping up a dazzling answer. Brighton is poor? That's a fact, Winter. Not a thought. Sorry. What I think is... I think... Nothing, look. What I've learned so far in class doesn't seem to be particularly applicable to this world, so I'm finding it a bit difficult to care. How can I care anyway? Besides all that, this is also disconnected from me. Plus, it's only my second world for heaven's sake. I'm still flummoxed by the fact that other worlds exist. What am I supposed to think when they just toss me to those places? Give me a pat on the back and say, "Be on your way, merry child"? Actually, here's that. What kind of a name is Brighton? That's a stupid name for a country. Sounds more like a town. Town of Brighton. Population 40. I'll scream blat, Cyrus, and any other mentor who questions me like this. I mean, I won't, but I would. I completely, totally, and so would. For now, though, an awkward and wobbling smell is all I can muster. It's okay, Winter. We'll get you there. Cute. Blah. Well, whatever. Huh? What do you think the next step is? Alright, to cool it, Winter, just remain calm and genuinely consider the question. The next thing to do, we need to learn things that weren't given. Right. Sir, I couldn't ask my last mentor, why are the dossiers we get before we come to these places so thin? Well, that's because they are simply comprised of first-hand information, noteworthy things that meteors have gathered through observation and gleaned from prior trips to their world. You're lucky you even have that much. Sometimes you get sent to worlds that have never been visited before. Let me tell you, it's never fun when a surprise dragon flies up from behind a mountain, or when you realize that the person you've been talking to is really just a convincing projection. Or worse, a robot. And once you start going into systems that threaten your definition of what being a world even means, good luck. Then again, all experienced meteors have to deal with such things. You won't be going to any unvisited worlds, at least definitely not yet. Oh. Another question. Why revisit worlds that have been helped? I mean, once order's in place, everything should be fine, right? Cyrus frowns, but his expression seems more complicated than that. I say that because his frown isn't alone. In In his eyes there isn't a glint of irritation, directed at no one in particular. As any glint, it's gone in a second, replaced by another thing that I can't quite decipher. Part of me is curious as to what it is, but most of me doesn't care. Here's the short answer. Because chaos cannot be contained or removed. Although it can be lessened by us, it will rise again over time. Sir, are you saying that there's no point to anything? No. Chaos is inherently bad, Winter. It is the means by which all worlds are born and continue, even ours. Furthermore, it is a spark of evolution. It plays a key part in those mutations which allow life to grow and improve itself. However, for life to succeed, there must also be order. It's like how cells must work together, and organs must serve their purpose. You see, a system where chaos is stronger than order is likely to collapse. Just as an organism which has succumbed to disease is likely to die. In short, we're not here to eradicate chaos, Winter. We're only here to keep it in check. Oh. Anyway, where do you think we should go next? Well, someplace with a lot of information, I suppose. Allow me to get to thinking about such a place. Oh, surprise, I'm done. The answer is so obvious it's insulting. After all, I had already gone there during my first mediation. The library. But, no, that's not... Why would we go to the library? I mean, I get your line of thought. Libraries can tell you a lot about a world's history, and I would bet there are computers there too, considering the world we're in. Unfortunately, that kind of knowledge probably wouldn't be so helpful for this job. What about scholarly journals? Reliable sources? No. I think we should find a bar. Huh? What is it? Oh, well, I just had a thought. Are the bars here special, like library bars? I figured maybe you like to drink as you read, maybe. Winter, stop thinking about libraries. Sorry. Bars here should be normal as far as I'm aware. Well, held there because bars are where people go to talk. Cyrus then turns to walk away, as if it is the next natural thing to do. Well, it is not. I stand incredulously for 3 full seconds before realizing that we're supposed to move ahead. Well, here we are, walking along. Is this a street? I've seen a few vehicles pass us by, so I guess it is. Or I should say that I've heard them, for they have been loud. There are pretty sorry excuses for transportation though. They have these grotesque metal protrusions out of their fronts, which blow dark smoke and occasionally drip liquid. As if that weren't bad enough, most every frame of these things that look like a bludgeon team went wild on it. They're such bewildering things that they distracted me from the matter at hand. Cyrus. Is he not going to elaborate at all? He just walked over telling me that people talk at bars. Thanks, Cyrus. I would not have guessed that people talk at places. Isn't he supposed to be teaching me? How can I learn anything with such vague statements? Well, Winter, well, you need to go to ice cream parlor, Winter, because they sell food, Winter, well. Goodness, how annoying. And hasn't he been annoying since orientation? Pestering me and staring at me? An annoying and unlikable person, this Cyrus, with a reputation at that, I hear. I mean, seriously, don't people talk everywhere? Sir, don't people talk everywhere? Isn't that the sort of thing humans are known for, in general? Well, aren't you snippy? Oh crap, I just ruined everything, didn't I? I need to stop thinking so much, or I'll let my thoughts slip out. Ah, I shouldn't have said it like that. He's my superior. I bet he'll lower my grade now. Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to be. It's just a bit frustrating when you don't explain yourself properly. Oh. I thought it was mostly self-explanatory. Not really at all, sir. Well, maybe it is. But I don't really know anything about bars. I've never even seen the outside of one. Ah, that's right. We're really not into drinking back home, are we? I don't know if I would say that. Perhaps not everyone is the same. Well, bars are generally a place where people go to unwind. And the alcohol loosens their lips, so to speak. They'll talk about almost anything. Themselves, their troubles. And often the real problem that will involve what is troubling the world's people. It's a useful place to visit. Speaking of problems, what was the issue of the last world you visited? Pollution. The world was kind of oldish and much less practical than ours. They kept throwing out their stuff wrong, and had bad ways of making energy. Their water ended up getting poisoned, and a lot of them were sick. Long-term project, I assume? Yeah. My mentor had already been working on it for a while before I came. I think it was around 5 months. That's so. Glad I'm assigned short-term projects. It'd be something awful to get stuck with the same problem for nearly a year. I agree, but I don't know about the way you said that. How long did you shadow her? 3 days. I see. You've never had alcohol, have you? What? No, sir, I would never. I mean, I'm too young. I stop in my tracks, and he stops to turn. His lips then curl up into kind of oh-ho-ho expression, oh-ho-hoing at my innocence, ripe to be defiled. It is creepy. I am uncomfortable. No, you wouldn't do anything against the rules, would you? Is that a test? A trick? A challenge? No sir, I would not. His smile broadens at this, and my discomfort increases. You know, Winter, each world you visit will have its own laws, its own customs, and its own social graces. You're going to have to learn to make your mind a little more flexible if you want to succeed. I'm going to have a drink, so I'm going to have you drink some alcohol at the bar. Excuse me? I don't want to. Besides, I'm underage. It's against the law. Well, Winter, in many cultures you will be expected to drink, even at your current age. You should be ready for that. And you should know the effects alcohol has on yourself and others. What? He's telling me to break the law? Wow, no. That's completely out of my comfort zone. I probably hate alcohol even, right? I do not want to do this. I mean, I know we're in another world, so it's not really the law, but... No, this is my conviction. I was born and raised to set rules, and I think it would be best to live by them. It's like what I learned in class. One might think it best to try absorbing all aspects of culture's meant. However, it is not advisable. In absorbing a culture, you run the risk of becoming absorbed by that culture as well. Mediators should not forget who they are. I am Winter Harrison. I will not be shaken by this. I don't think I can do that, sir. Winter. That's an order. This is part of your training. If you do not drink alcohol at the bar, I will be forced to fail you.
What? That isn't... That's not allowed. You can't make me do anything.
I most certainly can. I'm your mentor.
Only for today. Only for today, and you're always going to be that. Besides, you can't threaten me because I have my convictions and I won't forget who I am. I'm right. I can tell I'm right because my cheeks are flushed, my heart is pounding, and he looks wounded. I heard him. I struck out against him, and he knows he's wrong. It isn't just enough that he's hurting his side, though. I need to teach him a lesson. I need to knock it into him. Therefore, I will raise this trembling arm and trembling fist. I will raise it and grit my teeth, and I'll punch him right in the pathetic-looking chest. Ha!
What? Winter? What is this?
I am rebelling against you.
Did you just punch me? I nod my head quickly and with purpose. You did.
What does it look like? My fist smashed into ribs, didn't it?
Well, smashed is... All of a sudden my hair goes paff, as if something heavy has lightly fallen on it. I glance up to find Cyrus resting his hand on my head. Although I know what he is doing, in fact I just said so, I still am compelled to ask.
What are you doing?
Winter, fine. I won't force you to drink.
You mean you can't?
I mean I won't. I will, however, but for the stern suggestion. It would be very wise of you to drink. It will help you ease into the taste of another place. I know what they've taught you, and I'd be lying if I said I ignore what I've learned. Just remember the way it's worded. You're allowed to let yourself go a little. Just don't forget. I haven't forgotten, and neither have you, it seems. But you shouldn't be afraid of stepping outside of yourself, if only for a little while. In a sense, that's what you're doing already in being here. So I urge you, Winter. Have a pint.
I'll... just a little.
Good enough. Well, there's a bar. Come on, Winter.
That's a bar? What makes it any different from the other stores? It looks just like the same from the outside. They don't seem to pride themselves on distinction out here. I run my hand through my hair and grimace. I wonder if it's since all the storefronts look like this, maybe they're all bars. What a terrible thought. What, this is a culture which loves to drink? Will I be expected to drink a lot? I hope not. Warily, I begin to follow Cyrus. What am I doing? This is so illegal. I wonder if I can report this. Okay, brace for it. No amount of alcohol-tinged breath could be enough to prepare me for a bar smell, surely. Mother always talks about how awful bars are, and how that's why she only ever drinks at home. Sweaty, piggish, and smelling like failure, this can only lead to misery. Slowly, I part the fingers over my nostrils. It does not smell at all.
Get that out, Winter. You look ridiculous.
Hey, leave me alone. I've been misled. Slowly, I put down my hand, but not without glaring at Cyrus. He ignores this, of course, and walks over to an empty table to have a seat. He then pats the top of the chair next to him, inviting me. Well, whatever. I follow his lead, still cautious of this place.
Notice that there's only a few people here, although it's on lunch hour. What do you imagine that means?
Most of the people here really like to work.
Or maybe they really have to. Well, it's probably a good thing that this place is so empty. Too many customers might be a bit overwhelming for you. Can also make it rather difficult to actually find out anything.
I see. There are only 4 other people in the bar besides us, all of whom are men, and all thrice my age by the look of it. The 2 seems to be customers are dressed in rather rough manner, like they walked out of a construction site. I'm not the type to pride myself on appearance or anything, but I actually feel slightly embarrassed for them. They aren't the first in the world to look so deplorable though. In fact, I would say they look fairly good by comparison. Most people I've seen look like they picked their outfits from a pile of rags. Thankfully, the other 2, both in uniform, are very presentable. The waiter, or he's probably the waiter, looks rather spiffy, or the man behind the counter is quite cleanly dressed, so this world is not entirely hopeless. But enough about men and clothes, the wall behind the counter is far more interesting. There are 2 lengthy rows of wildly varying bottles, some round, some square, and some outright peculiar. Admittedly, I am enticed. Only for a second, I assure you. After all, I've been told that alcohol tastes like piss.
Well, I wouldn't know myself. I've never tried it.
What? You've never tried alcohol?
No. Piss. It isn't the best until you get used to it.
That aside, I've also been told that it makes you act like a twit, causes bouts of forgetfulness, and slowly poisons your liver.
That is true, to a point. Eventually you become addicted to it. Not everyone does, but there's a possibility.
Then why drink it?
Some people enjoy losing all control over themselves, and many love to forget. You'll see for yourself. You'll be able to form your own opinion soon.
I would rather not. Honestly, I'm more than fine with following the popular opinion, as often correct and has saved me a lot of trouble in the past. But my thoughts wander to safer days. The man who I believe is the waiter comes to our table.
And I think this is where I'll stop for today. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you want some more, please subscribe. And if you want to play this by yourselves, I will provide links down below in the description and the comments. Anyways, thank you, and take care.